What's up, RPG fans? Welcome to episode 27 of the Switchrpg podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Philip, as always, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Father Nintendo himself.
Father Nintendo. Yep.
Geo. I can't figure out a name on the spot, so I just gotta come up with these beforehand.
That's okay. You can say, typically you divulge what location I am. Well, so the geographic location,
Yeah.
In the United States. Instead of the Northeast or New England, I prefer to be called Titletown. Just saying, we do dominate all sports.
Geo, you're not in Philadelphia, though.
No, what?
Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time listening,
Say what?
This is the official podcast from the website Switchrpg.com that brings you all the exciting news, upcoming game releases, and the latest in the world of RPGs, the greatest genre in the world.
Yes.
On the Nintendo Switch platform. This week we got some more Pokemon stuff. Yeah, some more. We've got some Sega news.
What is that?
Remember when Sega used to be a Nintendo competitor?
I do remember those days. That's the beginning of console wars right there.
And finally, we are going to do Triple R for real this week. We promise.
We keep saying that. We keep saying it,
But for real this time.
For real this time?
For real.
Nice.
For real this time. Let's get the episode started in the news. Let's go right into that Pokemon news. Last week, we talked about how Pokemon Let's Go will apparently allow you to transfer all the Pokemon that you capture in that game to the future 2019 official major series release. So that was a pretty cool news. Gio and I both presumed that the way that you would do that would be through the Pokemon Bank or whatever this is called. Yeah, the Pokemon Bank. That's what we figured.
Also known as Pokebank. Just saying.
Is that the actual name of it? I didn't know if we coined that term.
No, we definitely did not coin the term. I mean, I would love to take responsibility and credit for it, but no, we did not. Okay, all right. So anyway, we actually do have a little press release here from express.co.uk. Thank you to all of our UK listeners out there. This is a new site. We've never gone to express.uk.
We've never gone .co.uk. We wanted to just broaden our horizons here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me just read you this, Gio, and then we'll dive into it a little bit. So fans have had to wait some time for the next major Pokemon franchise release on Nintendo Switch. While Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu is bound to prove popular with fans, it's still a watered-down version of the usual Pocket Monster format. Brutal.
Ouch.
That was me editorializing there. It will certainly help to build hype for the next Pokemon Switch release, which has been scheduled for 2019. This will be the next major franchise installment, which looks to shape the future of the series. Now, there's been some big news shared that is going to excite Nintendo fans. According to series director Junichi
You can do it.
Masuda.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Game Freak is working on a new system to share Pokemon, the actual monsters themselves. And it appears this upgraded Pokemon Bank could go as far as allow players to transfer their old collection to the new game. They haven't worked out all of the details yet, but that is the project that's in place. And Masuda told GameSpot that we're definitely always thinking of that kind of forward-moving functionality, especially since we've introduced Pokemon Bank. Now up to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you're able to store your Pokemon, and we know they're very important to everyone. I mean, obviously, people would be very sad if they just couldn't use their Pokemon in a future game.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes on to talk about how it is kind of complicated, but anyway, the gist of the matter is that Pokemon Bank looks to be the saving grace here, which is going to allow through these updates, possibly you to bring in your old Pokemon.
Yeah, you could
ones that you captured when you were 12 years younger. Like, I don't know.
That's really, really cool. I mean, you could conceivably go back to Pokemon Yellow when it was on Virtual Console, because I think when it was on Virtual Console, you could import those into Pokebank. So essentially, you can get Pokemon Yellow Pokemon all the way to now. So even before that, so Pokemon, what was the first one? I want to say it was it Silver?
That integrated with the bank?
Yeah, I want to say it was, or Black. I'm sorry, Black or White. I'm not sure. But I mean, from then on, you can the Pokemon that you had and transferred over, you can bring to now. That's awesome. That's incredible. And for them to be talking about that, it's definitely happening. It has to be happening. So very cool.
Well, being the devoted Pokemon fan that I am, I've got to say that this is really good news. Now, for those maybe listening for the first time, I've never even really seen gameplay of a Pokemon game. I'm that isolated from the franchise. But knowing what the hook of the game is, capturing monsters and building that collection, in a collection that, you're proud of, you don't want to lose. I think that this is a really smart move to not scare people away. I mean, it's inviting.
Yeah,
it's inclusive,
it definitely doesn't,
right?
Yeah, it doesn't deter people. I mean, I have I think I went up to X and Y's. I have almost 600, 700 Pokemon. So I have quite a bit. And, had I kept on, I probably would have had a lot more because they've introduced so many. But I'd be able to carry that all the way through the next RPG that's coming out in 2019, hopefully. So for them to do that, yeah, it's definitely inviting. It doesn't deter people away. It's just another added little nugget for people to come and enjoy it. So it's awesome. Really cool.
I'm wondering, this is complete speculation though, I'm wondering if this is possibly any indication that we might see some sort of difference in gameplay or the setup of the game, because I'm wondering if they are wanting you to use all of your old collection in this new brand way that maybe you've never used them before. I don't know. Maybe that's too, out there thinking.
I mean, this is the first time you're going to see a core RPG, Pokemon RPG on a console. I mean, it is a hybrid console, so I mean, you can take it here and there, so it's kind of handheld, but it's actual on home console. So this is going to be the first time, and I don't know if they'll introduce a new play style. I really don't. I don't have faith that they're going to, anyways.
You guys been saying since episode 1 that Pokemon doesn't change,
right? And it hasn't changed for many years, so I don't have faith. I would love to see some change. I mean, they don't have to drastically change everything. A lot of people are asking for some sort of open world type of thing. I think that's too much to ask. I don't know what I want, but I just want a little bit of change. Something going in a little bit of a different direction. Again, I just don't see it happen. I really don't. I mean, their change is in their other title with Game Freak. They're working on the town. And that's their change. They're not doing anything else with Pokemon. I don't think they're gonna mess with it. Can you imagine the backlash that they would get if they totally changed and then messed it up even further? They would just I don't know. It wouldn't fly. I think the core Pokemon fans, again, if there was a change that just didn't go well, they could lose a lot of people, and I don't know that they're willing to do that. I mean, they're
not going to lose anybody.
They will. I mean, you can kind of see that with Pokemon Let's Go. People are, even some core Pokemon fans, they just don't like what they've done with it. I mean, essentially, it's really like a mobile port if you really kind of think about it. But I mean, even with that, people aren't happy about it. I mean, for me, it's inviting. I'm not going to get it. I know people who are, but I mean, there are some that are just, they're not happy with it. And if the change goes the way that people don't like it, forget it. I mean, they'll come back, but it's just going to not do well.
Yeah, they'll probably get like 20 million other players. They'll just get like a whole new fan
potentially.
Base. So
but I mean, if they're going to try out new systems and things like that, and it just doesn't work, they're not going to.
You just don't think they would try it in the main series?
No. You
got the formula.
They have a formula. They're sticking to it. They've had so many chances to change, right? I mean, it's the same thing. You know, they've added like, you know, kind of some different mechanics with the ultras and all that stuff, but I don't know. I just don't believe it.
Because I have nothing to lose, you heard it here first, folks. We are getting something new out of Pokemon 19. This is my prediction. We're getting the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon. We're getting...
Wait a minute. Now, you're not saying the same style. It's just going to be... Okay, so for what Breath of the Wild did for Zelda games, you know, get Ring of Dungeons, like it's a slight alteration, right? So you're saying that Pokemon is going to travel the same path.
I'm saying Pokemon is going open world with persistent monsters, and it's going to be quote unquote different. It is not going to be the formulaic thing that they've done in the past. And that's just because, like, I mean, what do I have to lose? If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I've never been right about Pokemon in the past.
You know what? I would welcome that. I just don't see them doing it. Like, I think we mentioned it in the last episode where, you know, where you see the monsters out there or whatever, and you have like this battle in kind of like an arena. I would love to see that happening. But here's the thing, though. The Pokemon are fighting each other, so I mean, I'm just wondering how they would even do that. I don't know. I'm sure these people are way smarter. They can figure it all out. But I hate to tell you, it's not happening.
To the battle, when a battle initiates, instead of it being a turn-based RPG, it is actually the battle system from Super Smash Brothers.
Okay, just chaos.
That was too far.
Too far.
All right, but for all the Pokemon fans, we want to hear from you guys. Like, what are you expecting from Pokemon 2019? Let us know either on Discord. You can email us. Remember, we have that email form. You can always just send us what you think Pokemon 2019 is going to be like, or you can tweet us. Remember, at Switchrpg. So let us know, because you know a lot more than I do. All right, we teased Sega earlier, so now let's look at that. From comicbook.com, we've got an article that talks about how Sega is thinking, possibly planning Dreamcast ports for Nintendo Switch. Gio, was Dreamcast a console that you had and enjoyed?
Sega was never a console that I had and enjoyed. I was a Nintendo kid through and through. I had friends who were Sega fans, but they were friends for a very short time because of that. As I mentioned before, that's where the console wars truly started. Forget about your Ataris and ColecoVisions and Intellivisions. It was nothing like it was with Sega and Nintendo at the time. So they were Sega fans. They chose their side. I won. That's all I'm saying.
So just to sort of give context to this story, everyone a lot of us know about the line of ports that Sega's been putting out for the past while on Nintendo Switch called Sega Ages, where they're porting these older games. They may be adding slight alterations, maybe modern conveniences, things like that, but they're mainly ports, not really like remasters or anything like that. So that's what we're kind of talking about here, is we would be essentially porting through emulation these Dreamcast games. So I'm kind of a fan of that, because you are able to sort of play the game for the most part the way that it originally was, and we're not necessarily playing a reimagination of an older game, because I like to experience the older games for the way that they were, flaws and all. So I kind of like this idea of the Sega Ages, where it's bringing these older games to a modern machine so that I can legally get a hold of them. You know?
And I like that idea. I like the idea of giving the opportunity for people who have never played it, who had never had the opportunity to play it, giving them the chance to play these games. It's just, for me, I just can't go back and play a lot of these older games. Some of them don't age very well, in my opinion, and a lot of it is nostalgia. I'm gonna say something that I may regret down the line. Even with Secret of Mana, okay? Again, it's very nostalgic to me. It was my favorite for an extremely long time, and it still is my favorite. But I have the Super Nintendo Classic. I started playing it and I couldn't do it. I mean, I don't know what it was. I said, and I'm like, this is not what I remember. I'm gonna put this down. I want the memories. I want the memories of what I had about this game to be what I had. So I'm gonna put this away and forget I ever even touched it again.
He said, "Give me Divinity Original Sin 2."
Right, give me Divinity. I mean, it's not even just that. It's just, I guess now that I'm older, I notice a lot of the flaws in those games. Whereas, where I was younger, I didn't, I had no idea. But I would rather go and just kind of remember it from my brain when I was, 13 or whatever, playing that game. I mean, like I said, it is cool to give the opportunity for these people to play it. It's just, I don't know. I've never played them, but I don't think I could, to be honest with you. I'm just not, I'm just not a fan of a lot of them.
Even though Geo won't play them, I'm sure what he's looking at right now is I did link a list. It's a ranker list of what is by votes considered the top 20 RPGs. I don't recognize a lot of these. Number one, I do recognize the top of this list of Dreamcast RPGs would be Skies of Arcadia. Then you have Grandia 2, which is coming to Switch.
It is, yep.
As a remaster.
Yeah, confirmed, yep.
Then you have the original Shenmue. Then you have Shenmue 2. You have Phantasy Star Online version 2, Phantasy Star Online, Evolution, The World of Sacred Device, Record of Lodos War, Advent of Cardes.
Yes, sure.
Evolution 2, Far Off Promise, and Time Stalkers. That's just top 10. From there, it just divulges into things I've never even heard of.
Sure.
So, but out of that top 10, I'd say 4 or 5 of those are games that not only I've heard about, maybe 6 or 7 games that I've heard about, but games that are pretty heralded. So,
definitely, they're like
possible that we could get these on Switch.
It would be possible, and I think likely, because like you said, they've already divulged that they're doing Grandia 2, Skies of Arcadia. People just absolutely love that game. Shenmue and Phantasy Star, forget it. Like, those are the cream of the crop when you're talking Dreamcast. So, I mean, will people go out and buy these and play these? I don't know. I think the same situation with me with Secret of Mana. If people have played this before, they may go back and play it, but I really think it's unlikely. But sorry to be negative about this.
You crashed in my party on Pokemon 2019. You crashed in my party on Skies of Arcadia.
I am just all sorts of negative today, huh? I gotta let me shake it out.
Look, we're the balance of the force.
Oh man, I gotta stop. No.
We need you just as much as we need me.
Like Star Wars, you're the light on.
You gotta ground me. You gotta ground me. All right. So last but not least, from NintendoLife.com, we've got an interesting one here. We all know and love Game Studio Level 5, right? Mm-hmm. We love them. So apparently they're working on a horror RPG that was canceled. It was a game that was originally supposed to be set on the PSP, but it's still on the table and it's still coming out. So it's horror RPG Ushiro? Yeah, Ushiro, and it's being revived for Nintendo Switch. To be completely honest, I am not sure if this is coming to the West. It doesn't really necessarily say. The fact that it's it's making the rounds,
Yep.
like on Nintendo Life and things like that. That makes me hopeful that we could see it. But it looks really interesting. It has this really neat sort of hand-drawn art style. It's
an anime aesthetic.
yeah. And then so it looks like it maybe goes back and forth between this 2D hand-drawn and the actual sort of charming 3D visuals. And I don't necessarily know how much they will be updated. We're talking about a PSP game.
Does it seem like it's Nino Kuni-esque with the visual sort of?
It had, to me, it looks like it has sort of like that cell shaded kind of look, very level 5. So
Yep.
I like that, and I openly like horror stuff. So I'm interested in a little scary RPG.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
It looks really, really cool. Now, was Level 5 the developer that said that they were going to be bringing a lot of Switch RPGs?
Yeah.
Back from the dead, like kind of back from what's the word? Just kind of that were kind of hanging around, but kind of they're revitalizing them.
Okay, I'm not sure, but I do remember us talking about. It's been a dozen episodes ago now, but Level 5 was sort of they were doubling down on Switch.
Yeah.
Which is unsurprising. I know we talked about this at the time. It's unsurprising at this point because of the success of the Switch. A lot of studios probably didn't invest in the beginning because we didn't know what it was going to do. But
Right.
now that they see the numbers out there, I mean, people are obviously going to double down. Level 5 was one of those that confirmed that they were. So, yeah, maybe we are seeing sort of the beginning stages here
Of that.
in the next couple of years of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and for horror RPGs, I don't know. Can you think of any? I can't.
Straight up like RPGs where, I mean, and if you look at the footage of this game, what they're anticipating, like, dialogue trees, things like that, cutscene, like the true blue sort of Japanese role playing horror. Not that I've necessarily experienced, like straight up RPG.
Is Dead Space an RPG? I've never played it.
Is Catherine considered RPG, or is Catherine considered horror?
It's kind of got that dark like tone to it. Maybe it is an RPG. I'm not sure. I've never really played it, so.
But that's what we've got the listeners for.
Yes.
Send us your sort of favorite horror, scary RPG. Don't give us like Silent Hill. It's got RPG elements or something, Geo will get that out of here.
Yeah, it's not flying with me. Not at all.
He will not Kevin Durant. He will Kevin Garnett. That's what I was going for. Kevin Garnett. Just send that out of here. That was for all of you sports fans, all four of you.
Again, Boston.
Yeah, I knew my audience right there. I knew my audience.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So that was all the news, except it's not. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and cue that sweet, sweet Dragon Age music.
Yeah, I think you're shoehorning this in there, but I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
Is this Switch news? No. But this is Philip news.
This is Philip news, and that's...
I have been following a little game for a while now, and I've been trying to figure out a way to get this in on the show. And it turns out that this game has hit Kickstarter a few days ago, I think last week actually. And it is a Dragon Age Origins inspired RPG by a Spanish studio that I'm not even going to attempt the name.
No, I don't.
You know what? I'll attempt the name. Gato Salvage.
Watch your mouth.
Salvage.
Watch your mouth. There are kids.
And they've actually partnered with the Dragon Age creative director, my homeboy Mike Laidlaw, to make this game. Just go watch footage of this. Go watch the trailer. This game looks really, really, really interesting and good. Is it coming to Switch? Who knows? Who knows? But it's in Kickstarter. And if you like Dragon Age Origins, like myself, go look at this game. Anyway.
Yeah, they're on Kickstarter. and it looks like it will be a Steam exclusive, or not, a Steam game first and foremost. Now, again, just going back to Dragon Age, how many different races were there in Dragon Age? Do you recall?
Dragon Age Origins?
Yes.
There were humans, elves, and dwarves.
Okay.
In Dragon Age Origins.
So three races?
3.
Okay.
In Dragon Age 2, you could only play human. Okay. And then in Dragon Age Inquisition, you play human, elf, dwarf, and Kunari.
Okay. Well, this game has 4 races, and I thought that pool that was kind of small, but I mean, if you're going back and looking at Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age in particular, they didn't have that many races. So
what? Okay, so to give a little bit of context, the reason that a Dragon Age Origins inspired game is attractive to me, and it probably will be for a lot of people, is because the Dragon Age series has progressed a lot, and in its progression, it's evolved a lot. So with Dragon Age 2, they overhauled the combat to make it quicker and more active. They did a lot of things mechanics wise to make it a little bit more console friendly, which was not the most popular decision with like hardcore like Baldur's Gate fans, right? So like really old BioWare fans.
That's what Pokemon fans are gonna do. But continue. See, it all comes back.
So anyway, so a game that is focused on like a party combat, because that's what Dragon Age is sort of known for, is that 4-member party, and playing very tactically. The tactics have sort of gone from modern age Dragon Age, from modern times Dragon Age. By the time Inquisition rolls around, which I still enjoy, by the way, it is a lot more active and it's a lot less tactical. So a game that harkens back to sort of the slower tactical combat of Dragon Age Origins is really appealing. And if they can set it in a world that is sort of as alive and allows as much choice as Dragon Age has, then I'm not only on board, but I'm like steering the ship. I'm like, go ahead and name me, like I'm swabbing the deck. I'm on deck. I'm on deck.
Nice. Well, they have a goal of $150,000 US dollars, that is, and they are currently at 54,000. So Phil,
that was a couple of days ago. No, wait, are you on the actual Kickstarter website?
I am, yes.
Oh, okay.
And Phil has lovingly donated 50,000. Is that you?
Yeah. That was me. That was me. Yeah.
Holy.
So somebody like match that, please.
Yeah. Please, for your sake.
I will match every $20 that is donated to this game.
Oh boy.
No, I won't. I really won't.
You're not gonna. You're not.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. All right, so that wraps up the news. Gio, let's talk about what we've been playing. What you been playing this week?
Oh boy, I've been playing quite a bit. I actually haven't touched Divinity all week. And it's I'm like, I know.
Isn't that a breach of contract?
It might be. It might be. Well, here's the thing. I'm just gonna go out and say it. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. I've been doing the Let's Play for it. And I know it's an Xbox game. They have talked about it coming to the Switch, but deal with it. I'm playing it for Xbox. Okay, and I had recorded about 4 hours of it, and all of the recordings went to absolute. They just got lost. Okay. And so I'm about 4.5 hours ahead of where I did the last episode, and I don't know what to do, and I'm struggling to go back to it. So I may just go back to it and just say, hey, listen, this happened, and here we are. I may do that. But anyways, so yeah, Divinity Original Sin is kind of on the side burner right now. Playing a new game called The Council. It's again an Xbox, kind of a Telltale inspired game. It's kind of a narrative, episodic narrative game. Really, it's got realistic graphics. It looks kind of interesting. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been playing that game.
Just done your Let's Play.
Yep, I've been doing that. Been doing a little bit of Cosmic Star Heroine. I've been doing Wasteland 2, which may be coming to an end sooner rather than later. But yeah, I've been doing all that. I mean, I've been doing a lot of video games, but I've also been trying to keep up with a lot of these shows that are coming out. October has just been like a nightmare, an absolute nightmare for me, because I've been watching Daredevil, I've been watching Haunting on Hill House, and those shows are absolutely amazing. So it's just been slamming for me. I mean, I've been going to bed way too late, doing all this stuff, and again, I'm doing a lot of the YouTube stuff, so I've been starting a lot of different things that I'm trying to keep up with. So,
Gio, you want to announce like the milestone that you hit this week on YouTube?
For the subscribers, we're almost at 300 right now. I can get you a current total, but from going from just hitting 100 to where we're at now, I mean, it's awesome. I'm totally like shocked by it. I mean, I'm glad that people are subscribing. We're currently at 291. We're almost hitting 300.
Get us to 300, people.
Get us to 300.
Which, honestly, by the time you listen to this on Friday, we'll probably be there. So get us to 400.
I hope so, 400. Man. I never expected this at all. So, I mean, I'm trying as hard as I can to put new content out there. So I'm glad that some people are enjoying it. So, cool.
Excellent. So, with me, little bit of backstory. We missed a week recording because of a hurricane that went through my area that was fairly bad. And while I actually did not lose power, my power flickered 3 or 4 times. And the final time, and I understand, I had unplugged almost everything in my house just to be safe, except for the power strip that my Nintendo Switch dock was plugged into. And one time whenever it flickered, it burnt up my power cable for my Nintendo Switch dock. So I cannot charge my Nintendo Switch right now. And so I can't play my Nintendo Switch. So anyway, I say all that to say I've been playing my PC. And do you hear that?
Do I hear what?
Do you hear that?
No.
What? Oh, that's the beautiful sound of Dragon Age Origins soundtrack is playing currently.
What?
Right now. Listen to that beautiful music. Man. I've been playing Dragon Age Origins, people. So you know what that means? That means we are taking a trip down memory lane in a special episode of Oldest is Goldest.
Oh, this show just keeps popping up. So random. So random.
We're back. We're the show that talks about the glory days of RPGs when the old titles just really brought the heat and just made things wonderful. So let's talk about Dragon Age Origins, shall we? Because
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but my chair is extremely squeaky today. I mean, I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I mean, it's like making a lot of noise. I didn't want to interrupt you. I mean, did I say that? Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
Back when games were just wonderful, okay? So here's the thing. My concern going into Dragon Age Origins this time around was how does it really hold up? I mean, it's been a few years since I really played it, okay? Now, I cannot necessarily vouch for consoles. I'm sure if you're trying to play this thing on the PS3, man, it may be an absolute nightmare. If you're getting this thing on Xbox 360 or even backwards compatible on Xbox One, it may be an absolute nightmare. But I'm playing it on my PC, and it is a privilege to be able to play this game in 2018. It is still one of my, if not my favorite game of all time, for good reason. The amount of choices in this game, people, you just don't even understand. The amount of things that you could choose to change the world is staggering, and the few mods put on there, it looks really good. It really does. Now, I will say combat, little slow. if you're coming into this like from, like let's say The Witcher or something, ooh, this is a slog.
Slow it down.
Yeah. I was like, we didn't want you thinking too fast, so we just slowed everything down. It feels like slow motion, okay? But anyway, it is still, to me, just the shining beacon of Western RPGs, and I would say one of the last great games that BioWare made.
Probably. Well, Mass Effect 2, maybe.
One of the last great games. And I cannot believe that next year we are coming up on 10 years of this beloved title. And so I hope that everybody knows. We are announcing this fresh right here. Gio didn't even know about this.
Oh, no.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Gio did not even know about this. I didn't even know about this till right now. But November 3rd, 2019 is Dragon Age Day. And we will be celebrating on the show for November 3rd, 2019, because that is the 10th year anniversary for Dragon Age Origins. So that will conclude your Oldest is Goldest, your favorite retro gaming podcast inside this Switchrpg podcast. So thank you for listening.
It's podcastception.
We'll see you next time.
Is that what it is?
Podcastception.
Now, I'm so glad that you didn't have the same experience as I did with Secret of Mana, so that's good.
Well, see, whenever your favorite games are actually good games, then that doesn't happen.
Oh, no. This may... I am definitely not making it to 2019, that's for sure.
We'll have to have Geo Day before then.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's get over to the releases for this week. Once again, as always, your releases are brought to you by the SwitchRPG.com RPG database, as well as SwitchList .app or SwitchList app on your iPhone and Android. Releasing this week. Do we have any? What's today's date?
Today is the 24th.
So, nothing this week.
Nothing.
Tune in next week. There's
going to be some good ones next week, I think, right?
Oh, wait. Gio's teasing next week.
Yeah, there's going to be some decent ones.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. If you want to be part of the little circle here that knows what game's coming out next week, head over to switchrpg.com and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not doing your homework.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to
go home.
Pack your bags.
Okay, and then
we're going on a side quest. If you think it's too early to go on a side quest, I've got news for you. It is never too early in the show to go on the side quest.
Nope, not too early at all.
Because we teased it before. Ladies and gentlemen, we're returning to everyone's favorite game, Triple R.
Triple R.
Gio, you want to remind the listeners the rules of the game.
Yes, the rules of the game, Triple R. So you have to remake one, okay? Or you remaster, I guess you could call it, right? Okay. Reuse, port.
It's like a port.
Yeah, essentially. You don't have to fix the bugs, but, reuse. And refuse. Just get rid of it forever.
It disappears from existence.
Never to be played again. So for the games we have is Knights of the Old Republic. Now these games are very different. I will say that. Whereas the last time we did this, we had Final Fantasy games. Okay, so this time around we're doing Knights of the Old Republic, Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and Fable, the first Fable. Okay, we did this. We had quite a few responses. I don't have them in front of me, but I know what I would choose to remake, reuse, and refuse. Do you want to start off maybe with going a reuse?
Reuse. So we were talking about a port, Gio.
Yes.
I would say I had trouble with this because I've got it down to 2. I mean, I know which ones. I'm going to say reuse Oblivion.
Okay.
I'm going to say reuse Oblivion because I feel like even though it's pretty dated,
Yeah.
it's still playable. It's still playable. Oh, but
I don't know, man.
no. Oh my God, I don't know.
See, here's my thing with that game, and I'll just go ahead and say what I'm gonna do with that game. I'm refusing it, okay? And the reason why I'm refusing it is because it's essentially...
I took my headphones off, so I can't even listen to your explanation.
What? Put up...
I'm back. Go. All right,
headphones back on when you're doing a podcast with me. So yes, I'm refusing this one, and the reason being is that there's already a game that has done what, like Skyrim. I mean, for example...
I know you're not about to say that Skyrim did it better than Oblivion.
Skyrim did it better than Oblivion. I didn't. You know I'm not, but I am.
I didn't say that.
I said it. I said it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. I'm refusing Skyrim. I mean Skyrim. Oblivion. So. It's kind of been done. You can't port that game. That game does not look pretty at all. So if you
see, here's my dilemma though. Here's my dilemma. Because I just said port it, but see, it wasn't for the visuals at all. Like, visuals I think are fine. That's the reason that I was like, okay, visuals are fine. Running around questing is fine. You know what I didn't think about? I did not think about the level up system. And the reason I didn't is because I played on PC and I mod the level up system, so I never really think about the broken mess of a level up system that Oblivion
the one where you
has.
can just swim for hours and be level, I mean, whatever it is. So you just...
I am not even going to go into just how convoluted it is of a system. But it's broken. It's broken. And so I didn't even think about that. But I mean, I guess I'm locked in. I mean, that's the thing that I chose. I just did not even think about combat because I don't even give it the time of day.
I mean, the combat is bad. It's dated, man. It really is. If you were to go back and play that as it is, vanilla, with no mods, no nothing, it's not what you remember. That's for sure. It's definitely not what you remember.
If you're watching the video right now, you could probably screenshot what just happened because my face literally looked like I was looking into the soul of Oblivion itself. Like I'm looking into the flames, and because I've just messed up gaming history forever, or I should say gaming future, because I elected to port Oblivion and keep the convoluted, messed up, broken level up system. Yeah. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, it's gone forever for me, so I don't have to worry about it. Now, what are you doing with Knights of the Old Republic?
Wait.
What?
So you didn't even tell me your refuse. Oh, you didn't even tell me your reuse. You just told me you skipped right straight to your
Fable.
refuse.
There's no question about Fable. I mean, it stands
Why?
up. It stands up to this day. It's like it's a reflection of what games kind of look like now. I mean, that game could be released right now, and it would be fine. It really would be fine. It's a fantastic game.
I've never played Fable, so I wouldn't even know.
Well, if it was,
that's the reason that I'm refusing Fable. I'm just getting rid of it. Like, it's never existed for me, so might as well.
Okay, well, that's your loss, man. I mean, it's a really good game, and you're.
What is the pull for Fable? What is the shtick there? Like, why is it so good?
Like I said, it's got the aesthetic of it just looks like a modern game, and it's I think it holds up to what games look like now. I haven't played it in a very long time, so
we know from earlier this episode that you could go back and play it and it not be that good.
I'm sure it will be good. I'm sure of it. But it's been a while since I played it, but I mean, I'm kind of just looking at images now, and dude, it would stand up in today's environment. It really would.
And it really had a huge emphasis on the choice system, right? You
good,
really
evil.
affect that world the way you want.
Yeah, it had that good evil aspect to it, and they're the same makers, I think, who did Black and White, which is kind of like another good or evil choice. Now, Fable 2, some people love that game. For me, what really threw me off is the co-op slash not multiplayer. It was more co-op, but online co-op. It's just stupid because I mean you're your own player, and then when your buddy joins, they're just an orb on the screen. They're not an actual character moving around. It's just like a glowing orb, and there's just that there totally threw me off. Fable 3. I've never touched Fable 3 because of the mess Fable 2 was, and Peter Molyneux just kind of he was their spokesperson. He just overpromised, and their company just underdelivered, which is kind of why they're defunct now. But I don't know. I think Fable, again, if it was a release now, it would be fine. No one would complain about that game looking dated or anything.
So then, we're both remaking KOTOR?
Yes. Remake it.
Because that's the reason that I did. I went back and tried to play KOTOR. It was hard. It was hard
yes.
for me. It was hard for me because it's so dated. It's so dated, but it's one that I really want to experience because some people hail it as like the greatest representation of the Star Wars universe.
Right.
No, so I'm gonna have to buckle down and really give it a chance.
It's gonna be tough for you. You want to talk about dated? This is one, but man, if you were to remake this game, it's really, I think this is BioWare's best game.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly deep.
Second best. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm with you. I think a lot of people agree that this was BioWare at its prime.
Yeah, it definitely was. It kind of made them, I think, what they became, anyways. But I mean, this game it's incredibly deep. But if you were to just kind of just restore it, change the combat a little bit, modernize it, it would be awesome. It would be better. It would be, think of Mass Effect, but with Star Wars. It would just be incredible.
So while we were talking, I scrolled back 885 days worth of tweets on the Switchrpg Twitter to find the tweet of Triple R. So I do have the responses here, and I'll read them out.
Okay.
From everybody else. So at Joshua J. Sloan says there are no bad choices here, really, but he would remake Knights of the Old Republic. He says that it has the least series history. Star Wars should be flashy, maybe in new canon.
No.
Interesting, because unfortunately, it did get chopped whenever Disney picked up Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
they did away with
Star Wars. I don't even know what's canon anymore. Really, they just totally botched Star Wars, unfortunately.
He would reuse the Fable. He says the series needs ported around more in general, though 2 is most missing. So I think what he's saying there is that it's hard to get right now. It's not very accessible. Yeah. So, yeah. And he would agree with you and refuse Oblivion.
He agreed with me with everything.
He says there are more scrolls where that came from. You know what? Get out of here, Joshua J. Sloan.
He totally
There's
made my point.
There's nothing wrong with Oblivion.
Look at that. No, dude.
There's more scrolls where that came from.
He is the man. He is awesome.
Oh, God. I say you're keeping Daggerfall around?
No, we're just getting rid of
Are you keeping Morrowind around?
Oh, God. Such a baby.
At Johnny Darkfang, at Johnny Darkfang said he would remake KOTOR, preferably in a style similar to Wasteland 2, keep the original story but redo the combat. As someone currently playing Wasteland 2, Gio would have to respectfully disagree.
Yes, I respectfully disagree. Now, Wasteland 2, I'm sure on the PC it works just fine. But on
your big issue was optimization, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't work with the controller very well. It really doesn't.
So Johnny Darkfang would reuse Fable, preferably the Lost Chapters plus a few extras, and he would refuse Oblivion. Just give us a completely new Elder Scrolls instead.
Yes. Thank you. Wow. I mean, I speak for the people.
yeah. Okay, there's Gio's nickname. Help me remember, everybody. Gio's new nickname for next week's episode is the Voice of the People.
Voice of the People.
At Das Willbeard, they would remake KOTOR, reuse Fable, and refuse Oblivion.
You know what?
Oh
when I said I was the voice of the people, I meant it. I meant it.
Here we go.
Oh, boy.
Here's one for Philip. And you know what? I have to turn to my buddy at Captain Vulgar.
Oh, no.
He would remake Fable. He would reuse Oblivion because it doesn't need changing except for that awful combat. Not combat.
Well,
level
combat
up.
too.
I'll take the combat. I'll take the floaty light combat. I really will.
Okay.
Except shooting. Arrows. Ugh, can't stand archery in that game. But anyway, I'll take all that. Give me a different combat system. And he would refuse KOTOR. Now, I feel like that's a brave answer. Refusing KOTOR. Many people consider it one of the, like, I mean, just the turning of the age when it comes to like Western RPGs.
He may have not played it. And I knew there was a reason why I didn't like Captain Vulgar, so yeah.
Oh. Well, to be fair, that's the reason I really refused Fables, because I haven't played it.
Yeah.
So like I have nothing to lose. Yeah, maybe he hasn't played it. He has nothing to lose. So there you go. We've got at JRPG Goddess remake Oblivion. I'm also in favor of that. Remember, that was my B option whenever I realized how bad the level up system was. Because one of my most anticipated games is called, let me get it right, Skyblivion. They're remaking Oblivion in the Skyrim engine.
Why not?
It's a mod. Yeah. I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited.
You could always just play Skyrim. Just saying.
Can we have a feature discussion in a couple of episodes for my case of Oblivion over Skyrim?
Okay. We can hack that out. Okay. We can hack that
out. He would she would reuse Fable and refuse KOTOR. That's actually 2 for refusing KOTOR.
All right.
Said heard KOTOR is good but never played it, so I can't say. Yeah. So there you go. At Metal Matt Returns, remake KOTOR, reuse Oblivion, and get Fable out of there.
Don't get Fable out of there. You're missing out.
And our very own at CR Magic, remake KOTOR. There are certainly some devs who played it and have really good ideas for improving it. He would reuse Fable. That game plays good for being an Xbox release.
Mm-hmm. Can you just say I speak for the common people?
I can't even say.
Can you just
refuse Oblivion? I feel like everything Oblivion did was done as good or better in Morrowind or Skyrim.
As your voice of the people, we refuse. We refuse Oblivion. Thank you.
I don't completely disagree with that statement, to be clear, but for the purpose of this argument, because I don't want to refuse Oblivion, I have to disagree, and I will make that case at some point in the future.
At some point, all right.
So thank you for your responses on Triple R. Tune in next time for the next Triple R.
When I speak for the voice of the people.
When we get rid of many of your other beloved RPGs. Can I just say, let's just say this. If you get rid of Oblivion, do you realize that we're just stuck with Morrowind now? Because then they probably don't make Skyrim. So all of your little arguments that we get rid of Morrowind because we have Skyrim, well, guess what? Or you get rid of Oblivion because we have Skyrim. You get rid of Oblivion, we don't have Skyrim.
All right.
We don't have Skyrim on Alexa.
In your imaginary world, we don't have Skyrim, but we do, okay? The fact is that we do. It's been done, and it's better than Oblivion.
Okay. All right.
We'll hash this out at another time. It's fine. I'll have to prepare my arguments, and I have to sound like intelligent and stuff.
No, you don't. You really don't. It's not that important. Gio, you wanna do a little bonus side quest real quick?
A bonus? What do you got something on me? What do you got?
We also tweeted out a tweet that I cannot read all of the responses to. We talked about this tweet last week a little bit. Or I don't remember if that was on the show or if that was before the show.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
My memory fails me. But we did tweet out and asked what your first RPG was and what your favorite RPG is. So that's an interesting question because a lot of people, it's the same.
Yeah.
You know, and there's that makes a lot of sense, right? You never forget your first, like there's something special about that.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier, a lot of times we're wrapped up in nostalgia and the game may not even be that good, but it's our favorite, you know, because it was our first. But there's a large amount of people that it's not. I'm not going to be able to read all of the responses, but I will read some of them. But Gio, do you already have your favorite and your first?
Yeah, I was actually the first person to reply to that. And then many others replied, which was really awesome. So yeah, my first is actually Final Fantasy 1 for the Nintendo. I've mentioned this before. I really should not have been playing that because I had no idea what a JRPG was. I had no idea what I was doing, but that was actually my first ever. The first one where I actually knew what I was doing was Secret of Mana. But Final Fantasy was definitely one. I remember having a guidebook for that, the manual for it. Now, unfortunately, they don't have manuals anymore, and this is one of the things I really miss about games now. But I remember taking that manual everywhere with me, whether it was church, whether it was school. That thing went. It was like this encyclopedia for me. So yeah, it was Final Fantasy, and I really want to throw Secret of Mana in there, but it wasn't my first. Now, do you want to go with your first, or you just want me to hit you with my favorite?
Yeah, I'll go my first real quick. My first was Madden 2000. I was trying so hard. I was trying so hard to say it with a straight face. My first was actually a Lord of the Rings RPG, and I've mentioned it before. It was sort of a ripoff of Final Fantasy X, but it was called the Third Age, Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, and that was technically my first RPG. It was turn-based. I fell in love with the style of game because I had never played anything like it before. And my best friend, who's still my best friend today, he said, because we used to all, he, my brother, and I would all play it together. And he said, "Oh my gosh, if you like this, then play what it was inspired by." And so I went to GameStop as a young lad and got Final Fantasy X. Mm-hmm. So, but technically, Third Age was my first.
Yeah, and then you went right into Final Fantasy X. So, very cool. Yeah, Final Fantasy X is kind of in the middle for me with RPGs. That's kind of the peak, I think. Final Fantasy X, excellent everything all around. It's got music, characters. It's overall just a fantastic for that being kind of your first RPG. That's awesome. It really is cool. So what do you have for your favorito? That's Spanish, by the way. I think. I don't speak Spanish.
I, of course, listeners of the show know what my dilemma is in choosing. I think I'm going to have to go with the theme of this show and say Dragon Age Origins. So I think that is my favorite game of all time.
Sure.
If I really sit down and think about it, I think I would have to go Dragon Age.
I mean, this is the first I'm hearing about this game.
Oh my
this
God.
Dragon Age game that you speak about. So I'll have to look on the information superhighway to see if I can find more information about it. I've never heard
You're the worst.
I've never heard of that game. Must be because it's not so very good.
Well, you know what? But you know what? At least the game that I chose as my favorite game, like people have heard me talk about it before. the game on your list, how many times have you really talked about this game?
Because this is a Nintendo Switch RPG podcast. On my list is Witcher 3. Witcher 3, for all the reasons I like Final Fantasy X, Witcher 3 does it for me as well. I like the active combat. It's for a Western RPG, it's got all the elements I like. It's got a lot of spell, a lot of magic, a lot of melee. It's just... I like the enemies in the game. I like the story in the game. Geralt is an amazing protagonist. He's got a lot of depth to him. Even the DLC I played that was good. It's on par for me. It was a tough choice because it was either The Witcher 3 or Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is also which is also. I put a lot of time into that game, probably more time than I've ever put in any game. And again, for the same reasons I like The Witcher, I kind of like Xenoblade 2. And even with Xenoblade 2, the battle system is very unique. It's very different. And once you got the hang of it, I felt like it was like choreography. It felt really smooth. It felt really, really good. So, I mean, I had that choice, whether it was The Witcher 3 or Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So.
Good. A couple of interesting answers here, going back to the Twitter thread.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out, do I call it the tweet or do I call it the Twitter thread?
The Twitter.
I've been on Reddit, so I don't know,
it's the thread of
tweets. So a couple of interesting answers here. One from @Benji Kong, and he says his first RPG is Octopath Traveler.
Wow.
And his favorite RPG is South Park, The Fractured But Whole. So he said I'm a late bloomer. I think that's a really cool answer.
Yep.
Because we're thinking in terms of like old stuff and stuff like that, and here's someone who Octopath Traveler is their first RPG.
Right.
That is so cool to me.
Yeah, and that was like what, a year, not even a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I fell off the map with Octopath Traveler, but I mean, it's an excellent first. So.
And I think that is really cool because we talked so much about Octopath Traveler, and I think if anything, it did, even though, because we're in an RPG echo chamber, and we speak to RPG fans, we are RPG fans. It's hard for us to think about the fact that there are people out there who haven't played RPGs before, but there are. And so I think if anything, Octopath Traveler was just a great entry experience for so many people, right. And it's cool to see one.
Yeah, and it had a mix of old and new with the aesthetics. So I mean, it's really nice to see people, and we're welcoming of all people here. As the voice of the people, we'll welcome all. I don't know who am I looking at. I'm looking at nothing over there.
Mario's looking at you behind you though. We've got @Sega Shinobi. He said Dragon Warrior was his first, and as an early prediction, Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah.
He's just really going on a limb and just staking his claim.
Yeah, I mean, we have literally nothing. Just just a couple of trailers. I mean, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see what they're gonna put out. But yeah, early stake there.
@Jonas Wombo said Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest. That's an answer for you.
Yeah.
Because I recently played Dragon Quest 1, and I'm assuming that's what it is. If you're a Dragon Quest fan, a series fan, of course you're going to specify the number. So if you don't put a number, I'm assuming you mean the original. To say that that's still your favorite, that's a very interesting answer.
Yeah.
Because that was not the easiest play in 2018.
Right. Yeah, that's a very difficult game to get through.
@Corvo Revo, speaking of voice of the people here, @Corvo Revo says Secret of Mana and still Secret of Mana.
Wow. He probably hasn't played it in a while.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at because I know that Gio did this, but I'm laughing at all of Gio's gifs that he responded to everybody with. Just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, wow. When you see the Switchrpg tweet out, and there's a lot of these gifs or gifs, however you want to pronounce it. If you see a gif attached to it, it's probably me, because I feel like that's the best way to evoke my emotions.
Our very own at EBRPG said his first was Pokemon Red. His favorite is Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. What a choice.
Yeah, that's actually a really good. I like the game. I mean, I didn't complete it, but it's cool. I like it.
And finally, we've got at DJ Atkins, friend of the show. First game, Final Fantasy
Beard
1
Club member.
Yes. We're getting very close to the No Shave November.
Yep,
it's great. Final Fantasy 1 was his first game, and his favorite is kind of a cheat answer, but it says it's a very close three-way tie between Final Fantasy 1, Dragon Warrior 1, and Final Fantasy Game Boy games. So really a three-way tie meets like a, I don't know, Final Fantasy Game Boy games?
He cheated.
Yeah.
He cheated.
Just cheated.
You can't do
that's
that.
Fine.
You can't.
Yeah,
No,
that's fine.
Nope. He's out of the club.
Oh, no! He's still got a beard.
Yep. He's got to shave it, though, so...
Okay, he's got to shave it. All right, so there you go. There's your first game, first RPG, favorite RPG. So thing with side quests, guys, is pay attention to the Switchrpg Twitter. Go follow us at Switchrpg. Periodically, we'll throw up a question. Answer the question. You could get your answer read on the show.
Yeah.
So
yep.
We want to thank all 100 people, or there were 100 comments. I guess half of those could be yours. I don't know. But anyway, thank everybody for tweeting back at us there.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Gio, I think that's about going to do. It's going to wrap up episode 27 of the Switchrpg podcast. We want to thank everybody for listening, for sticking with us this week. It was a great episode, I thought. Really cool news.
Yeah.
It was great to hear Gio's perspective of trashing all over Oblivion.
And figuring out that I am truly the voice of the people. I just totally did not. I mean, I just thought I was. I thought it was just one of the common folk, but I'm really not. I'm really.
You know what I think. I think that this episode just it just exemplified what we are. You know, we are RPG fans, so we are all about a journey and a quest. And if you'll remember, folks, at the beginning of this episode, Gio just thought he was the most negative person in the world.
Yeah. And now,
but he went on such a journey from the beginning of this episode to now the end. He's the voice of the people.
I'm the voice of the people. I feel like it can squash all enemies. I'm way too overleveled for this place. I'm just saying.
Some people would call him the hero of Ferelden. Anyway, thank you for sending all of your feedback and your questions. Remember, you can send in questions using the form at switchrpg.com/podcast. Email it to us. And you can also jump in Discord, and that's discord.switchrpg.com, and post in our podcast thread on there. Remember, you can listen to the show each and every Friday. Our new release days on Friday, and you can listen to us in your favorite RPG app, your favorite podcast listening app.
Or if you have an RPG app.
If you have an RPG app, send it to me. I want to know. And remember, if you like what you hear, you can head over to patreon.com/SwitchRPG. Throw us $1 or $2. But if you can't, no worries, because you just providing your ears, your eyes, your typing your responses, and just being around us is what we love the most. And remember, you can head over to SwitchRPG.com to set up all of your RPG database, favorite games, and your list, your wants, your needs, everything like that. It's found at SwitchRPG.com. Until next time, everybody, go play Oblivion and realize that we shouldn't get rid of it.
The voice of the people. Remove Oblivion. Goodbye.
See you, everybody.